my name is Qua'Yanna, and today we will discuss the question, should tattoos be considered unprofessional? Do you know anyone that has trouble getting a job based on their physical appearance? That woman riding the bus, covered in eye-catching floral tattoos with electric blue hair pinned into a sleek ponytail, could be a preschool teacher or even a NICU nurse. There's always the chance that they will be perceived as someone that society deems as only worthy of a lesser career. I have always been a lover of self-expression through tattoos, wild hair colors, braids and locks, and other modifications like piercings. This has led to the occasional job not being an option until more recently. In this speech, you will hear about the origins of tattoos, the importance of self-expression, and how the content of these outward designs can sometimes be shocking, but it is still the wearer's choice. And that does not define the morality and ethics as a person. First, let's talk about when and where tattoos are believed to have originated from. There are several varying records, some from more than 5,000 years ago, that show Japanese figurines made out of clay, with markings meant to represent tattoos. Another account describes a European Tyrolean iceman named Otzi, who was found embedded in an alpine glacier dating back anywhere from 3,370 to 3,100 BC. Otzi had more than 60 tattoos across his eerily preserved body. According to Amy Olson in her article, A Brief History in Tattoos, published April 13th of 2010, a tattoo is defined as a mark fixed upon the body by inserting pigment under the skin. For thousands of years, humans have taken part in marking their bodies with status symbols, signs of devout beliefs, and even forms of penance. This type of adornment has always been a vital form of expression by many cultures, but there came a time when religious groups attempted to abolish the practice of tattooing to assimilate indigenous tribes and force religious conversion. While three of the main world religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, have a history of reacting with hostility towards the use of tattoos, Buddhism and Hinduism are two of the big groups that have always made respected use of them. Though most people today can form their own opinions about these often symbolic and sentimental designs, the ancient Greeks viewed them as criminal marks, punishment for escaped and captured slaves, as well as shamed proof for enemies captured in battle. Stigmas and cultural misunderstandings have been around just as long as expressions of art. These misconceptions would never fail to bleed into the corporate workplace. As social norms shifted, the perception of tattoos continuously grew. The roller coaster of negative and positive feelings, a long ride with no end in sight. The association changed from possible signs of wealth, thanks to the inability for many to afford the process, to assumed deviant behavior or mental health issues. Time has thankfully allowed these very different factions to grow more tolerant and open-minded, with the need to maintain the ever-growing workforce. There are also records of groups in South America using scarification as an early introduction to what we know as tattoos. To stop the bleeding that would follow the scarring process, tribes would rub certain plants into the marks. Tattoos began as a way to communicate one's life achievements, social status, and growth, and most commonly, the coming of age rite of passage and changes brought on by puberty. By honoring these cultural beliefs, many groups felt more connected to the ancestors and their tribe's old ways. Now that you know a bit more about the origins of tattoos, we are going to discuss the importance of self-expression. I believe that tattoos are highly significant, not only for cultural reasons, but to aid in self-confidence and acceptance of one's body for those that struggle with body dysmorphia. A little background information about image acceptance and how tattoos help. In many cases, the application of tattoos can highly affect the internal conflicts that rage in the minds of those that dislike any one part of their body. It is also seen as a method of combating a recent pain or hurdle, a complex chapter in one's life, or a reward/badge of honor. According to Abigail Joanne's article, Do Tattoos Affect Personality?, published October 30th, 2022, over 20% of a group of more than 500 people had a minimum of one tattoo. These individuals were more likely than their non-tattooed counterparts to be more interested in thrill-seeking experiences as well as have a more open-minded view on body modifications. There will always be groupings that do not see the positive effects of body modification, and more specifically tattooing, but those individuals tend to have other coping mechanisms and responses. While the subject matter of tattoos, as well as placement, should certainly be thought out and not rushed, these designs tend to be more uplifting for the wearer and only contribute to their ability to reflect and problem solve. The psychology of body art, namely tattooing, is only the beginning. When an employer chooses not to support employees that have tattoos, this heavily affects the chances of finding qualified workers. By discriminating based on physical appearance, the business is expressing an unwillingness to be open-minded, thus missing out on a potentially incredible candidate for the job. This also causes individuals to doubt their abilities and further pushes people to have an increase in psychological frustrations. Even choosing to enforce a covered tattoo policy can hinder the growth of businesses. Not respecting an employee's freedoms to express themselves within reason is a clear indication they do not have faith in a person's work ethic. I strongly believe that when you take the time to understand the reasons a person chose to get a tattoo, you can understand someone as an individual more than what meets the eye. As Martin Luther King once said, "Let us not be judged by the image on our skin, but by the content of our character." The message remains the same throughout time. Remove stereotypes and learn to respect a person on who they are, not their tattoos. Now that you have heard about the importance of physical expression, let's talk about how a person's tattoos do not define their morality and ethics. Though there are certainly types of tattoos that are aggressively taboo or disagreeable, it is still the wearer's choice, and we should take the time to evaluate them as a person and not stereotype them based on physical alterations. I do believe that as more people accrue visible tattoos, the more workplaces will loosen their strict stances. We may not be able to alter every company's viewpoint, but as more professions allow these body modifications, the happier the workplace will be. The shift in policy leads to higher quality production by valued employees. Employees that could have better problem-solving skills, stronger leadership capabilities, and greater conflict resolution. At one point, it was very common for certain groups to be marginalized by onlookers that witnessed these people in society. Fortunately for those with tattoos, they are no longer pushed to the edge, judged, and ill-perceived. Often, tattoos encourage a more independent and free-thinking image, this being the opposite of what many religions and cultures pushed in the past. To be stigmatized and devalued in a place where you should be respected and appreciated for your skills, not your appearance, is hugely unfair and causes more harm than good. According to Olivia Sanders, who published the article Tattoos in Society, A Progression of Acceptance on February 27th in 2022, tattoos can serve as a way for police and other protective agencies to identify certain groups and gangs. The images and symbols connecting criminals to each other and crime scenes. This does not make all tattooed individuals criminals. It simply gives the rest of us peace of mind that those with ill intentions can be easily apprehended based on their visible descriptions. The one place you are almost certainly guaranteed a job at is a graphic artist studio as a piercer or tattooer, a local bar as security or bartender, a musician, or even a photographer. Most clients and customers in these fields prefer someone with a visible zest for life, some fun way to make them stand out and seem more eclectic. In conclusion, you have all learned about the origins of tattoos and their significance to wearers. You heard the importance of self-expression through body modifications, and you see how tattoos are the wearer's choice, and that does not define their morality and ethics as a person. It is important to understand that there will always be careers where certain tattoos and their placement are just not suited. But when looking at potential candidates for a job, you should not judge nor stereotype based on appearances. Remember that the man in the grocery store with tattoos covering his arms and neck could be a fireman or a nurse. The same way that sweet and innocent woman with long plain hair, mousy glasses in the library could be a criminal on the run. And to answer our previous question, I do believe that tattoos should be considered professional. And that's it.